one.
It's actually a clear case. And there's this company that they make like.
Okay, we are live.
All right, well, we're doing a 5-second countdown. He said we're live, but I think we still do the countdown, so we'll just do the countdown. All right, we will go ahead and get started with the work session at 6:05.
Yeah.
Hey, trustees, we have Jason Ziss from Kurtz Brothers with us today. Jason and I have had many conversations about the dredge site and potentially maybe some working together with our closed landfill. Jason wanted to talk with the trustees today, what you had to present, and entertain any questions you have.
Yeah, yeah, whatever, if you want, yeah.
Yeah, if you could.
Well, thanks a lot. As Mike said, I've met Mike for over a year and a half now. Talked to him about the project that we're trying to do right up on the lake on Hardy Road, and it's coming together nicely. So we thought it was a good time to come in and introduce myself, our company, and really talk about the future of that site, really, and kind of sediment management in Ohio. And if you guys want to talk about the landfill or anything else, I'm all for it.
I'm going to interrupt you to do this. The more level we keep the microphone, the better it is.
Gotcha.
All right. Thank you.
So I only brought a few maps, but can I pass it to you?
Sure, yeah.
And I'll give you one of my business cards too as well.
Okay.
So this is the property.
Thank you.
So this is a property, I'm sure you're pretty familiar with it, this old CEI property. It's roughly 120 acres right on the lakefront, but really a culmination of collaboration between the state of Ohio, the EPA, here locally, Lake County Port Authority, and really trying to address sediment management for the Grand River. And we were selected, a public bid went out for qualifications to operate a sediment facility here in the county to service the Grand. We currently operate the sediment recycling facility for the Cleveland Port Authority. It's right next to Burke Lakefront Airport. If you're going downtown, the old aviation high school, that's the entrance to the facility. It's not as big. It's only 50 acres. This property's over 100. It's around 120. But back in 2015, when the state of Ohio decided to make rules to ban the open lake placement for water quality protection of Lake Erie, they needed to come up with solutions for how each of the 8 navigation harbors, federal navigation harbors, would manage their sediment. So they did a good job. They spent those next few years coming up with solutions, and every harbor to date has a solution. Are they in place right now? No, but they all have their plans in place, and they're well on their way. So just like Cleveland's is upland recycling, that is the avenue that the Grand River will take here, really led by the Lake County Port Authority. So when I say upland recycling, what I mean is, so the prior use was just to dredge all the 1.8 million cubic yards of sediment that was generated annually in all these rivers in the lake and dump it in the lake. That proved to be really prohibitive for water quality, and so that's why the state came up with that law. So some of the solutions for different sediment management applications would be build up disposal facilities, create these wetland areas. There's different harbor things that you could do in water, but ones that's really going to take hold for probably half of the ports in Ohio is this upland application. So what you can do is when sediment is dredged and it's unloaded upland instead of in the lake, you can repurpose the sediment into its different particulate matter. And those different fractions of the sediment can be reused in commodity fashions in different applications such as horticulture, agriculture, construction, or landscape supplies. So this has been a model that we've been working at successfully for five years now in Cleveland, so it works. It's something that the Army Corps of Engineers calls regional sediment management. It's really just recycling sediment, and it's something that's been successful, and we look to replicate that here. And I know there's other harbors that are looking at this as well. Conneaut is taking a very similar approach with upland sediment management, as is the Port of Lorraine for the Black River. So that's what we're going to be doing here. Wanted to share that with you. I have a kind of a giant map that kind of explains the process, if you guys want to see.
I have a podium or a handbag. Oh, no, you know what, for that, you can just put it on the table.
Yeah, okay. So sediment, when it's dredged right now, there's a couple different ways that you can unload it from the barges. You can use mechanical unloading, so you kind of just scoop down like an excavator, dump it on trucks or the land, and haul it that way. It's more expensive. The most cost-effective way to do that right now is to put it on a barge and then just inject a ton of water into it and hydraulically unload it. So it's really a slurry of really only 10% sediment, but it pumps it, and you can pump sediment miles. So that's the direction that, this is a conceptual design. We still have to go through the design and engineering phases. But the concept is the barge would hook up in Lake Erie, and there'd be a pipe for where they would hook up to. So it'd be a floating pipe. Take it down when the dredging's over. It only lasts a week or two, maybe a whole year. But really they only dredge the Grand once every 2 years. So what would happen is the material would get hydraulically unloaded, would go up the slope into a series of channels or sluiceways. And the point here is that these sluiceways allow the different particulate of the sediment to drop down. So the Grand's material is some of the more coarse sediment that you typically get in Ohio. Further east you go, typically is more coarse. Further west, it's more silty, fine-like material. That's why they call the Maumee the muddy. You know, that's because it's all fine particulate. So when you unload into these sluiceways, the sands and the gravel fractions will settle out, and then you would kind of go down the natural topography of the site, which it really works out real well. And I'd invite anybody from the township if they want to come see the location and kind of see it for themselves. It took Mike last week to kind of get a good view of it. But as you would make it, as the water pulls the finer material down, it would go into a series of settling ponds before the final water meets NPS discharge levels, and the water then goes back into the lake.
Do you pipe it out, or is it gravity flow out?
The whole site would be gravity fed, but that last part would be pumped.
Okay.
But it's kind of like a cascading pool system.
Is it natural, or you adjust the topography to allow for the gravity to?
So the layout of the site is actually pretty much in place. Now, we have a lot of work to do in order to get it to a functioning weir system where there are different ponds. Because what we want to do is bring it into a pond, stop the water movement, let it settle, and then go into the next pond. Same thing. So you need weirs, you need big berms. So what we're going to do is we have a big area. This is kind of a plateau. Again, you guys want to do a field trip one day. It's cool. Maybe when it's nicer.
Yeah,
Yeah.
a little bit, yeah.
But there's a level area up here. See, in the former use of the site, they dug this whole area down. There was millions of cubic yard capacity here, and they slowly filled it up, capped it. But we need construction material to build the rest of the site. So there's a plateau up here where we can get all the clay that we would need to build the site. So there'll be a borrow area over here that we would build, or that we'd excavate to essentially build a facility. But that's the way that site would function. And then over here to the west, that would be more lay down area for product distribution, as would happen. But preliminary design, that's what we're looking at.
So the pipe to offload, is that just in place when you offload, or?
Yeah, so there'd be a permanent fixture along the bank. 'Cause they need it under.
Because there's gonna be a bike
That's right,
trail
yeah.
through here.
Right.
Okay.
And we're working with a park system to make sure that happens.
Okay.
We're big supporters of the trail. But that pipe would essentially go under the trail and then kind of pop up when it gets to the sluiceways.
Okay.
Yeah, but then anything in the water would be disconnected and then the gravity.
Did you say that they were taking some of the salt dredges from?
This is a different thing.
I know, but I thought some of it was going here. No. Okay.
Well,
So-
Jason should answer that.
Yeah, so,
I just wonder where that comes into play.
right, so we have been working with the EPA and the state on the Meadowmarsh for some time now, looking at that material. But we're a beneficial reuse company, so we look at ways to different ways to recycle the materials. And based on proximity and void space creation, our objective with the Meadowmarsh project was to bring salt spoils here to the site that we've analyzed, recycle those, and then the fractions that couldn't be recycled, use a permanent placement along the areas that are where the void space was created. For the
So recycling salt essentially, you're gonna to repurpose the salt
Yeah.
for sale? Is that what you're?
Well, I don't.
Not you directly, but to raw product to somebody else, or?
Yeah, right. So essentially refining the material that's in there, because there's definitely material that can be recycled in the Meadowmarsh material. Through analysis that we've done, we actually think a good portion can be recycled, and I believe that's what the state would like to see happen too.
Sure.
So, that will happen before this is constructed. So a lot of that would happen here, but this would be excavated and allow for a nice parlor for spoils that could be recycled.
And I'm guessing since the Corps and EPA is involved, there's no concern with the water process taking any contaminants from the old diamond?
No.
Okay, all right.
Diamond,
It's farther off to the
it is
east.
farther off, they are
Or west,
neighboring
rather?
sites, but
Okay.
yeah, no, based on our analysis of the phase twos that we've done. on the property.
So this area particular over here has no contamination from the diamond?
No,
Okay. How far does that go to where the contamination, I guess, would end, right? Where does that line up here, do you know?
for the diamond contamination, based on our phase two analysis that we've done on the property, we didn't have any diamond contamination.
How far, all the way over to here?
Well, we had to analyze the whole site to make sure that we weren't getting any on-site migration.
Like,
Yeah, this is
site,
this
your
is-
site to this sight line is what you're
Yes.
saying?
So, yeah, so they analyze that. I
Right,
mean,
to the ending there.
Correct.
So anything west of that, that's, okay.
That's on them.
So on this site here, once the dredging operations are up from the river, basically all material taken out that's dredged is gonna be processed and sold.
Yeah, so not all the material will be processed and sold. A lot of that is based on the material and the market. So we imagine that a great portion of the material that comes from the grant every 2 years will be able to be recycled. And as we build the market more and more for the material, then you're gonna increase how much you can put in the market. So in order to qualify for the RFQ that the Port Authority put out, we had to assure a 20-year solution. So if we did nothing with the material, like just received it, put it in the hole, and see you later, we would achieve a 20-year solution based on the void space that's there. But with recycling, I actually think we could get up to 40 years out of this site and actually be one of the longest beneficial use site options in the entire state.
Okay.
What about, I live in that general area, what about odors from the water and the muck?
Yeah.
And as it runs through there and it filtrates out through the settling ponds
Yeah.
before it goes back, that's my concern.
You can smell the material when it's being unloaded, but honestly, after that, you don't smell anything. You're gonna smell that plant next door much more than anything that would involve dredging.
Well, we already smell that plant, and they're not as bad as they used to be.
Yeah.
So the concern would be is that you guys start doing something and we start all over again.
Yeah, no, I don't see it. I've been living in this sediment world in Ohio since its inception. You know what? You can come down to Cleveland the next time for hydraulic unloading, which will be in May. I'd be happy to show you the unloading operation and how that works.
So they have settling ponds there
They
too?
have very similar setup
All
like
right,
this.
that'd be good. I
Yeah,
like that.
So
absolutely.
material that leaves this site, how's it getting out?
Yeah, and just sort of here, the same way that it used to be accessed from the prior owner.
So that is a township road. And my concern is if we're trucking a lot of material in heavy trucks, the toll it could take on the road. I mean, luckily it's from basically the railroad tracks
Right.
to the
Oh, is that where that's
state
at?
route.
Yeah, right next to the road.
Yeah,
So
this
it's
is-
on Hardy or on?
It's on Hardy.
283?
It's on Hardy.
Oh, I thought they were coming off of Fairgrounds,
Fairgrounds.
or,
Fairport Nursery.
Yeah,
No, it's just north of the railroad
It's right next
tracks.
to the,
Just north of the railroad tracks at Hardy Animal Nutrition. So,
It's part of the concept of them joining the JED to help maintain that road for
Who would own that property?
Which one? This is owned by our company.
Yeah, they bought it.
Okay, you
but
bought the
it transferred last week, looked like.
Yeah, 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, it just showed up in the GIS.
So, but it's there. How much the truck? What kind of truck action is? Most of it's coming off the lake, right? Your operations and the trucks are just gonna be taking out the good stuff out, right?
Yes, correct.
And how long is that process before you have usable product to ship out of your site?
So that's something we're gonna have to play around with here. It's a little different situation than what we have in Cleveland. So Cleveland's a really difficult scenario because they receive sediment twice a year. So unlike any other harbor in the state, like we're under a time crunch. So imagine working on half the site but getting double the volume because of the time frame. So this is once every other year. So I can't answer that right now because what we want to see is bring some material and see how it dewaters, how quickly. I mean, in Cleveland, we can move material within a month to 6 weeks from receiving, but here we might not have to. We might have
So this
5
isn't,
months.
and this won't be so it won't be a constant thing. It'll be sort of like a burst of products ready,
6
move it out,
months
and
or
then.
something, or-
Yeah, I mean, but we want to develop more of a distribution center. So again, we want to grow.
Sure.
We want to grow for this area, grow jobs and everything here too. So it's not like we would want to receive everything in and just walk away and. come
Yeah,
back.
right.
What we'd like to do is bring material in, sediment it, process it into these new products, and use that for a distribution facility.
Okay.
Thank you.
Go on top for
Thanks,
me.
Chuck. Okay. So, yeah, we see it as more of a kind of year-round operation.
Okay.
Maybe not off the bat.
Right, out of the gate, right, okay.
Okay.
Well, which is fine. I mean, that road's industrial, handles trucks anyways. It's-
Sorry to interrupt. Jason, you're gonna have to talk from the microphone because the people can't hear.
Okay.
Sorry.
You can carry it with you.
You-
Yeah, if you want to.
Yeah, you can carry the mic with you.
Yeah, okay.
Well, I'll just handle mine.
That one's attached.
It's fine.
No, it
I can
comes
sit
out, it's
back-
portable.
sit back
Okay,
here.
all right,
It's
all right.
totally fine,
Yeah,
totally
that's
fine.
probably, I mean, we stay apart anyway. Right. Okay, so that is this site. Any other questions on?
So you're dredging the Grand River, so when you say it can go a couple miles, that's what you're referring to, is get over to the Grand River?
Mhm.
Cool. So actually, it's kind of cool, we went to Outer Banks a couple years ago, they were filling the beach up on a big project, and they were pumping it in from probably a couple miles away through a big tube, and then they were blowing it up on the beach, and then
Yeah.
the bulldozers were all
Rich,
leveling it.
Rich can't hear you.
Okay, hi, Rich, can you hear me now?
You Guys, we have to
Check,
talk
check.
to our microphones.
Yeah, I forgot. My bad. So anyhow, that's interesting. So it's probably it's the same sort of thing.
I don't think they'll be dredging from the Grand and piping it the whole way. I would imagine that they're going to come down just past that break wall. That's sort of a break wall. And then hook up somewhere around there. But yeah, it would still involve piping for.
So they would dredge it to a barge, and
And then
then
dump it,
and then
and then
take
pump it?
and then take the barge over, hook the barge up, and suck it off the barge,
Exactly.
shoot it off with water into the pipe.
Exactly. Yeah.
All right, very
Yeah.
cool. Very
Yeah.
cool.
Yeah, right now, they do all that dredging right now, then they just take it out and dump it.
What's the ecological impact? You know, like thinking,
Half a
like when
mile,
you're
a
dredging
mile
the
to
river,
the
there's got to be things living in that.
In the sediment?
Yeah, is there or no?
I mean, are there things living in the sediment? So,
Just for instance, we had a bridge project or something a while back, and there were mussels in the river were an issue. Like, so if you're dredging that up, like, don't you run into those kind of issues too?
so
or-
we don't do any of the dredging. This is all federal Army Corps of Engineers dredging.
Okay.
So any permits or anything that they have to do to qualify the material,
So they're handling the dredging part.
Absolutely.
You're just handling the end game of it. Okay.
Absolutely,
All right,
yeah,
I get it.
Any other questions on this particular site? Okay.
Nope.
Any questions on
When's
the?
that gonna start digging?
yeah. So that's one of the situations that we're kind of dealing with here now. That's a difficult one. Really, I don't know if you guys saw in the newspaper a couple of weeks ago, but they said that there was funds allocated for the Grand River dredging this year. And I'll be honest, I don't see how that's happening. I would almost guarantee that the Grand River does not get dredged this year.
Because
Yeah.
This site's not ready.
Oh, no. The site is
No.
not. We're in design engineering. We're about to enter into design engineering phase with the Lake County Port Authority. Yeah. So no. We're not shovel ready for that. But The Grand, yeah, and a couple other harbors here in the state will face a very difficult challenge because it is prohibited to dump sediment in the lake right now. Became a law last year, and there are other harbors that do not have facilities set up like this one to receive the material.
You're doing this with.
Here, Conneaut, and possibly Lorraine, where they're going to take the sediment, I don't personally think that they really know. So I don't think that there's going to be an option for dredging this year. So I think dredging is going to have to take place next year, and I hope that's not going to be an impact on businesses that rely on these federal navigation channels to operate. Could be a difficult situation.
Well, interesting.
Yeah.
I'd like to see all that. That's neat. Okay.
Yeah, like I said, in May, that's when they receive material downtown Cleveland. And if you guys want to come see that, definitely you can get the odor.
Bring my sniffer and
Yeah,
sure,
yeah,
for sure.
sounds-
Check it
definitely
out.
sounds interesting.
I think they were dredging the Grand last year. Pretty sure. I saw them out
Does it
there
matter? I don't know.
I'm not sure.
when I was fishing. I go fishing out of the Grand a lot, so I see those boats out there a lot.
So this is old CEI property. Did I hear that correct?
Correct. Yes.
Okay. Was there fly ash and stuff on that before?
Yes, yes.
And they dug all that out and
No. Part
It's
of it
still
still has
there?
flash on it. Yeah,
Okay.
capped and closed. Yeah.
So
Okay.
I had some questions on the Menor Marsh site if we're done
yep.
with this. So you indicated you guys were interested and thought a lot of that material could be recycled.
Yeah.
So even, I guess my understanding is there's layers, right? There's soil layers and salt layers.
That's correct.
You're thinking all of the material, right? That you
No.
or just the salt layer?
Yeah. Well, the salt layers definitely.
Okay.
There is option for some of the other material there, but we need to qualify it better. So once it comes out of the ground, because
Okay.
what we don't know is how mishmash those other spoils are. But yeah, I definitely think based on our analysis of the material and working with the state, that at least a third of the material could be recycled.
Okay.
And I think that'll be good for the project too.
Well, so a third could be recycled, and then you guys would be able to take some of the other unrecyclable materials and fill in the borrow pit.
Yes, that is our intention.
And, okay.
Mhm.
Okay.
But that hurts us then, right?
I wasn't going to say that, but yeah. If we were interested in the other fill material, yeah, that was why I was asking.
You see, okay.
Yeah.
So that's a problem, for obvious reasons. I mean, we need the money to fix our landfill, and anything you guys take that we can't get ends up hurting us. So,
But if the contractor who does the work at the marsh can take the material to them and not get charged because they're getting a commodity out of it, that contractor's going to want to give them, hey, we'll truck the material to you for free, and versus trucking it to our landfill and paying a fee to dispose of it. Right? If they're taking the material,
I understand.
yeah.
But he
Don't
was
mean I
saying-
like
he was
anything
saying
with
they were
that.
thinking that's only going to be a third of the.
Third recyclable, and then
But whatever they don't use, they're saying they can fill in holes with, if I understood correctly.
That is correct.
So you'd be able to use 100% of whatever it was they were taking.
We believe that site could take 100% of the
Mike,
material.
is that open? Okay, just mailman's here, so I just want to see.
yeah. Maybe we just post Hardy Road, no trucks. I'm just kidding. Just kidding.
So the real question, Jason, is, we were contacted by the EPA.
Mhm.
Thank you. We were approached by the EPA a few weeks ago, wondering if we would be interested in accepting the material from the
Who's
Menor
on the
Marsh.
hallway?
Came out of the blue,
Jason.
came to us, and I think it came out of the blue to you. I think you
Yeah.
thought you might be getting it. So what we would like to know is, can we work a deal with you, or do we compete directly with the EPA for the Menor Marsh? I mean, is there a way to work this out?
Yeah, I mean, it was always our intention to come in and be good neighbors to really the township that hosts us and our business, because we don't envision this as a one-time project. We plan to be here for decades. So yeah, and honestly, guys, I read your landfill closure plan, and I don't think it's that complex of a project. We have a landfill. We've closed landfills before, so we have that experience. We have environmental firms that work for us. So I understand the situation and what you've been presented. I also think there's other ways that maybe that could work. Like I said, we have a plethora of clay at the site, a plethora. And we would,
Plethora of what?
clay.
Clay.
Clay,
Which
gotcha.
is good.
Yeah. Logistically, we're closer than probably any source that you could even get for,
Right.
yeah. So, yeah, no, I never wanted to come in here and compete with the host township. But I do think we're a really good option for that material. And based on recycling, I think that's a really good play. And I'll be honest, guys. I think that some of the work that would go into closing your landfill with the proposed capping material is a lot easier said than done. Adding an additional 300,000 tons of material on top of an existing landfill. After reviewing the reports, I think the road for that is much more difficult than to do something that we're suggesting. Not that it can't be done, but I wondered how that deal would be structured to move ahead and even investigate if you guys could do that. So
It's the material to marsh 300,000
1,000
tons or cubic yards?
yards. Sorry.
Okay, all right.
Would you
So
like
you
to
just
buy
take
that
all-
landfill?
I say you just take. We'll let you have it all, and you just take care of our landfill for us, and we'll call it a wash.
You can
How
use it
about
for
that?
temporary parking, whatever you need it for.
So, but all joking aside, I think we could talk about creative options.
Okay.
Okay.
I like creative options.
Yeah, like I said, when I read the plan that was sent to me, I wasn't like, oh my god, it didn't seem. It seemed rather simplistic in the sense of closing a landfill. Adding new material, reopening a landfill, going through a Rule 13 consideration for the additional volumes and anti-deg, like that's really aggressive.
So you're saying don't reopen it, don't compete with you, let you have it all, and you'll cap our landfill for us.
what I'd say is what I would say is let's all work together
Okay.
and see how we could work something out.
All right.
So I'm all about working together, but it's got to be working together because ultimately it's going to cost us money that we don't have.
Yeah.
Or it's going to severely impact the budget, the revenue streams that we have for a rainy day are going to be exhausted or severely hit. So all about working together, but it's got to be working together because if it's not working together, it does us no good.
Totally.
And everything is, help you, you help us. Everybody works together.
I agree. It's funny because the very first day that I met Mike, we were talking about a landfill. So I do understand the predicament that the township's faced with from no fault of anybody, especially here. But I get it. I have to benefit everybody. So
Okay.
I'd like to sit down.
Okay, good. Thank you.
All right. Any other questions before we move on? No? All right.
Thanks, guys.
Well, thank you. If you want
Thank
to
you.
grab your map.
Thanks for the explanation. Appreciate it. Nice meeting you.
Nice to meet you.
Oh, thank you.
Coming out. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thanks, man.
Thank you.
We're gonna share.
Okay. All right.
Oh, you know what? No, I can get this microphone over here.
You can feel free to hang around. You can get your stuff packed up and get out of here.
Probably gonna take off.
Yeah. Don't blame you.
Oh, you're going to miss a good, exciting meeting.
Apparently I can live stream it.
You can, yes.
Oh,
You
yeah.
know, throw it on your phone and listen to it on the way home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're gonna plan for our parade. That's the most time-consuming thing I have on the agenda for me is completing planning for the parade.
Okay.
An important topic is the parade marshals. We last year agreed to
allow the 3 guys who started the parade to be the parade marshals, and we're going to recognize them at Hell Regals. We've got plaques that Neil Conway chipped in and bought, and that all got put off. And it is presumed, and I've already committed to, we will do that this year. So we have our 3 parade marshals. We're going to make a speech or give them a recognition in their plaques at Hell Regals. That's one of the things we have to plan for today. Who's going to do that? How does it work? I talked to somebody from Hell Regals they're going to be in the parade, and they expect the same crowd they had 2 years ago. They just expect everybody to walk right in. So it would be my suggestion that if we're going to recognize the 3 founders, we do it on the front steps fairly early. I can't see myself going in Hell Regals under the way it was 2 years ago.
Well,
It's
she's talking about
service
getting setting up outside. I talked to her. They're talking about possibly getting a big tent, maybe a big outside tent,
probably be a
and
wise
setting up
idea.
fire pits outside.
Okay.
So they're definitely
It's-
looking to do it outside, not just inside, because of not packing everybody in there.
Okay,
so.
I was talking to Jeannie Toth, and she was thinking they're coming inside.
Yeah.
Maybe they're,
I was talking to
Maybe they were.
Sylvia's daughter. They're looking at trying to do something outside, get fire pits and all that kind of stuff. So.
okay. Nevertheless, it will, I think, in an orderly world, it'll work better for us to plan on recognizing the founders early rather than later, because it's a drinking crowd. It's going to be hard to get people's attention. Might as well, that's my suggestion. If there's another way you want to do it, that's fine.
No, we just do that. We on the steps. The only people it matters pay attention are them. So we'll just stand on the steps, thank
I
them,
think
and give
that
their
works.
plaques, and get out of the way. You know.
I really think that works. So they'll be in lead cars with you guys, or where I assume you guys want to be in lead cars, but they're going to, they're grand marshals like we had a couple years ago. Doesn't cost us anything. Neil Conway's paid for everything so far. You paid for the plaques, and he's going to give us some comments. Is there a trustee that's going to do this?
Should be the chairman.
I don't know if I'll be around for it, so I would defer to anybody else that wants to, or Mike volunteered.
Well, if it's not you, it should go to the vice chairman or the other one, so.
That's you. You gonna do it?
Yeah, I can do it unless you want to do it.
I couldn't care less. So if you want to do it, go ahead.
Okay.
We'll give you some comments.
I was actually there with the first, my wife made the sign for them.
So-
She gets no credit for it.
So here's my thought.
She was
Moving
actually
forward,
doing that.
we don't need a grand marshal, at least in my opinion. I mean,
I think moving forward, us 3 will go first,
Yeah,
and then everybody,
period,
and
that's
everything
it.
can go behind us. That's way to work. You know.
I don't think that's an issue.
Yeah. Just this year, we've already planned for it. We're picking up where we left. Essentially, we're redoing last year what was planned.
Yeah, that's what we're
That's
just
fine.
reinventing last year.
And the next year, we're just not going to commit to anybody like that. We'll just.
And all the 3 founders were kicking in last year to pay for the bagpiper that didn't happen. But I mean, those guys were actually chipping in.
Sure.
Yeah.
It was them
All right.
and Neil Conway and 2 others that were.
do we have a bagpiper this year?
I don't know. What are we?
We don't know.
Okay.
Neil Conway used to play in a band. He's my connection to the bands. And he's checking around, and none of the bagpipe bands have played in a year because there haven't been any place to go.
Even
so none
just-
of them are geared up.
Even just one bagpiper?
Yeah,
Well,
just
he's
one.
looking. He's
Okay.
looking.
I was like, I was.
Didn't I thought somebody at the fire department had contact
Well,
for somebody.
Kevin said he did, but he did not find a bagpiper that first year. He said we asked him to find one, and he didn't. So we didn't have one the
So-
first year.
I was in downtown Willoughby last night at Nora's, and they had a bagpiper, and
You get numbers?
he slipped out before I could catch him.
I say, did you get his business card?
No.
So why don't you call Nora's and ask her?
Maybe I will.
Okay. So
Okay, and Neil is still looking. He's checked around, and a couple people said, "Well, we'll think about it." So we don't know yet.
Okay.
But it's mostly because nobody's played.
I mean, we need one person. I mean,
that's what I mean. If we use one
Yeah,
bagpipe, that'd be
I
great
agree.
too.
If we
Yeah.
can, yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
A question several groups have asked: are they allowed to throw candy?
I'm throwing candy, so
Yeah, why not? Is
Yeah.
there some reason we can't?
no, I
Well,
don't think so.
COVID. Yeah.
I'm
You know what?
throwing,
People
I was
don't want to
planning
grab
on
it. They
buying
don't
it.
have to grab it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yep.
but it was a question, and candy's okay. That's fine.
Yeah.
Surprised
Let them
people
make
even
the
asked.
choice. Yeah.
Surprised people even asked. But okay. Yeah.
Well, some people are really conscious. We got a group coming from Port Clinton. The Port Clinton something or other festival wants to come, and they're going to be in it. I don't know how they heard about it.
Promote their festival.
It's the only
product.
parade in Ohio, maybe.
It must be.
Well, there's
Some
another
lady-
one because some lady sent us a message that
Aurora.
said she commented. Who she sent that to? You?
Me.
That if we weren't having, let her know because there's one somewhere else that she's got to
Oh.
drive to. So
Okay. Yeah. No, that's great.
What?
She's in her thing.
No, she didn't want to waste a trip up here if we weren't going to hold it. She's from Aurora.
There's one lady that says her. Where's the lady that has the autistic son?
Yeah, that was her. She's
I
from
thought-
Aurora.
Yeah, I thought she said, "Let me know because if not, I'll drive to the other one." I thought that's
No,
what
it
said.
was, I don't want to drive up from Aurora and find out
Oh,
you're not
okay.
having the parade, so.
Okay.
Yeah. So I don't know how the word has spread so far, but, yeah, people talk.
Good.
Revolutionists, man.
Pardon me?
It's a revolution.
Yeah.
They're leading the way.
So I would encourage you all to be there by 2:30 to get lined
Yeah.
up, because once we get cars in, it's kind of hard to put people ahead and, you
And
know.
I'm guessing you're handling, telling them where to come in.
Same thing as 2 years ago.
Yep.
Circle around, and then we'll get plow trucks up front. Whatever equipment you can get towards the front there as well.
And we'll be up front, and then
Yeah.
they can just go.
Well, I had last year, 2 years ago, it's 2 lines, one for the people who had to be in the front and one for everybody else.
There
and
you
you
go.
just pull
Okay.
them
Okay.
behind,
And they just
so-
kind of
but-
file them in.
But
right?
being there early
Guys doing
matters.
golf carts again?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Crossing fingers for the weather, but yeah.
Yeah. The temperature's supposed to be decent. It's too soon to know if it's going to rain, but it's going to be in the 40s to 50s at least.
Perfect.
Will our ladder truck be back? So then we don't really have a reserve engine, right?
No, but Station One will bring their trucks over unless they get a call, they'll peel off, but other than
Okay.
that, they'll be there. And Gordon's bringing it.
Okay.
And Bill and I met with the sheriff's office. We've got traffic control handled.
How many people we getting a decent amount of?
I've probably got, I meant to count before the meeting. I think I've got about 15 applications, and I know there's more out there. I've talked to a
Sure.
few people who haven't submitted them yet. So that's not as many as we had a few years ago, but there's still time. I think if the weather holds for us, people are really gonna.
Right.
I've got a list here. If you're
Hey,
interested.
easy.
Lists.
He has not contacted me this year.
So, like, have you the elected officials and stuff? Have you gotten any of them yet?
I have not. I didn't know what to do on that one. I just didn't do it. I didn't reach out to, because there was so much going on. I wasn't sure what to do with it, so I didn't.
Would we reach out to them or?
I wouldn't reach out to
I
them.
wouldn't reach out to them. I
If
just
they
didn't
want
know
to
if
reach
any of
out to
them-
you, that's okay, but.
Yeah. Yeah, I wouldn't seek them out. per
Okay.
se.
Then I've not heard from any elected
Did
officials.
you hear from? I know. Did Mike said he was thinking about coming in?
Ravancic?
Yeah. So I don't know if you got anything from them yet.
Mike who?
Mike
Ravancic?
Vancic, the golf carts. Glenn.
Oh, I've not heard from them.
How about Bob's Garage? Have we?
No.
So you have regular contact with them, right or no? Yeah. See if they want a big. I know they got that big old beautiful truck. Jay and Jared like to show off. So see if they want to come in
This is
and
what
bring
happened
that. You know,
last
that kind of thing.
What's all this? Oh, what's his name? Okay.
I got
Gotcha.
Miss Donovan coming. She's
And I'm guessing,
99.
I'm already guessing that the people that submitted last year, you reached out to all those people.
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely. Everybody who was
figured.
registered last year got a direct email from me asking if they wanted to
Okay.
participate.
If you find out from Hell Regals what they're doing, share that with all of us. I mean, it'd be nice to put that out. I mean, 'cause I know.
Well, I will. Once she decides, I was helping her find a band, so she was trying to lock down a band. I think she finally found somebody. So
You would think on a Sunday
yeah.
before, so.
Well, the problem was just like the bagpipes. A couple of the bands that are like, we haven't played in a year. We're not ready to play. So she had a hard time, but I think she located somebody.
Okay.
So
yeah, it's hard if they get a tent. I mean, I bet people would love to know that, hey, they're gonna have a
Well,
tent.
yeah,
they're
we-
outside, and
I'll help her
A lot,
promote
lot of
it.
those little local bands broke up because they just
Yeah, they
weren't
just know how to play, right?
practicing, you know, they were
what else on the
like
parade?
horse feathers.
That's it off the top of my head.
Okay.
Okay,
All right.
I've been
That was
there
easy.
With 5 people.
I mean, it sounded like it was gonna be
Okay,
a long.
so
I know.
Okay. I assume all the elected will be there.
Yeah,
I
with the
just
golf
assume
cart.
that, yeah. The NOPEC grant, I provided you with quotes for signs and for the windows. I don't know what to do. You guys need to talk to each other about what we're doing.
I think it's we don't need them, but per se they're not like needed. But these are old windows. They're thin. They're gonna go at some point, and then we're stuck with the bill. It's just like our HVAC systems. We didn't need them, but we took that money and utilized it to put new ones in. I think for $9,600, that was your lowest.
Well,
I'd beware of that.
Who was that? Was
that-
that from?
just windows.
Yeah.
He commended what the other guys did, looked, measured, went out and sat in his truck for 10 minutes, walked in with a handwritten quote. The others that submitted something took days and gave a very detailed quote that was higher. So I'm a little
Well, all I know is I've used the guy and know that he does really quality work. So I can't see, and he's a
Okay.
township resident too.
What kind of? I mean, are we getting like triple pane windows?
I mean, I'm sure, I don't know what he gave Mike as far as,
What I asked for was what we have. I said, you know, it doesn't have to be Anderson, but I mean, it had to, I didn't even know they were Anderson until the last guy came in, but this is what we want. These windows are fine, services, we just want to update. So it's supposed to be.
just a newer type of, those are probably, those at least double pane, so.
Double pane. Yeah.
I mean, triple, I don't know if we need triple pane, but it's,
So we have 3 estimates that are all over the board.
Yes. Yes.
Okay.
I mean,
And one estimate, the guy told me we don't need them.
Can you? I don't know. Before we go forward, since there's such a big spread, is it a ton of work to get another estimate?
No, there was supposed to be somebody here this afternoon to give me one and he didn't show.
Okay.
But I can still look for more companies that, they don't all do commercial windows. That was part of what
Yeah.
took me so long, is I kept calling companies that only do houses.
Ah.
I mean, here's the thing, you got a quote, the guy does, I mean, he's not gonna put,
We
he's
don't-
not gonna
nobody's
put
gonna
crap
put
in it, he's gonna warranty the windows, and he's a township resident, I
I've
mean,
not
why not
seen-
give him the job, you know?
I've not seen a warranty. For many of them, I just.
No, right.
I would. Yeah. I mean, since you work here, right? So if you set up somebody to come out for an estimate, you're here. It's not like when you're at home. It could be inconvenient. I mean, I'm just saying that.
Oh, yeah, no, I
Yeah.
just gotta find more companies. And if you want me to get more estimates, I'm happy to. I just, we got plenty of time on the grant.
Do any of these windows fold in, or are they all just like this exactly
Well,
up
they
and
should be
down?
just like that.
Yeah, they're all locked
That's
in.
what I asked for, is give us the same that we've got.
Okay.
If you guys wanna change it, you gotta tell me now
How do
before I
you
get the
clean those
quotes.
things? I mean, how do you clean them? Like the outsides, they gotta go outside to clean them?
Yeah.
How often does it rain?
I mean, probably.
They've been
probably- we
cleaned
have
once
this-
in 7 years.
Oh, we don't have this,
Once in 20 years.
Okay, I got them cleaned 3 years ago, and that was the first time they'd been cleaned.
So I guess I would say if you can get one more estimate, and maybe if the other guy was really cheap, ask him, hey, is there a better quality? Is there a higher quality window? Because that seems.
Ask who?
we don't wanna tell Tom that it's cheap, and then, oh yeah, you know what, yeah, it's 15,000.
Well, or ask him, hey,
I mean,
can you give me
that's the last thing you wanna do. I think we'd say, what kind of windows are you putting in?
okay, well, ask him what kind of windows are
And
getting
what
put
kind of
in.
warranty, and then we can
He's
compare
streaming
that.
right now, he just got
Right.
the message.
He just sent it, oh wait, we just got the email,
No,
updated,
but, I mean,
updated quote 17.5.
Well, no, we have the quote, but look, if we can get triple pane windows instead of double pane for 15 instead of 9.
Or if we can get 9 and then use the rest of the grant for insulation and heaters, then why not go that route?
Wait, say that again?
If we can get good windows that will last another 20 years for $9,800, and then get insulation and all the other stuff, why spend more money on windows? Is my point. We don't have to overdo it. It's not our house we're living in. you know?
Right, but I mean, if we're spending the money.
There's somebody that works here.
I know, but you know what I mean. It's like,
If you get one more quote and then find out more information from,
Okay, what am I supposed to ask? Am I asking for triple pane, or?
so you ask this,
They all 3 gave me quotes based on the same information.
so get another quote that same way.
Okay,
and then ask Tom to elaborate on what type of windows and warranty
Yes.
he's giving you. That's all.
Yeah.
okay.
Okay.
Okay, will do. The LED signs range from the very cheapest is 5,900. That's the one Madison Village got.
That was only 5,900.
The one from Digital Marketing was 5,900. It's a much more limited sign. You get what you
Sure.
pay for.
Yeah, right.
The other one's Rough Neon Sign, who's done most of them in the area, I think, gave us 3. So you got A, B, and C. Then corresponding quality and options, whether you can program it from your phone and stuff like that. You know, put the message on from your phone, which
Right.
you can. I sent you the quotes. I'm not qualified to tell you the differences between the signs, other than I can tell the difference between a $5,900 sign and a $29,000.
I think at this point, we get the windows, we look at the other options, whether it's insulation, heater, whatever else we want to. I think it's
I have
money
a
better
list that
spent for
I'm not
right
all
now.
the way through of things we suggested last
What's the
time.
total grant for, Mike? Total dollar amount?
34,000.
34K.
Okay.
So, yeah, I'll get more quotes, and at the last meeting, we made a list of a couple other things, ceiling
Yeah, the
fans in the bays.
washer and
that,
dryers
you know,
and that kind of stuff.
I can get quotes on that stuff. I was mostly focused on the signs.
Sure.
And
Okay.
Because all that
For
stuff
now.
can kind of be stuff at the end when we're looking to fill out the full amount,
Yeah.
right? If we have some
Right.
big ticket items.
Okay, I'll come back to you with more information.
Okay. All right. Anything else, Mike?
Last thing is health insurance update. Gabe explained to us before he had an issue with the health insurance billing, and a second employee had an issue, not the same program, but
Something
had
else.
an emergency room visit declined.
What does that mean? Like declined an emergency room visit? What?
The billing, Medical Mutual said, we're not paying for this.
Okay.
All right. Carol has worked pretty hard to get this changed, and she called me today to tell me that Medical Mutual's agreed to revert us. The contract that they gave us at our renewal was different than the one we had last
Right.
year. They failed to tell us that.
Right.
So they have agreed to turn us back to the original agreement or contract we had last year, so that our coverage is exactly the same.
And with no cost increase, she said too.
No cost increase other than what we paid at the
Correct.
beginning of the year.
Right.
If you had a claim in January or February and it's been denied by Medical Mutual, it needs to be resubmitted. As of March 1st, there shouldn't be any more problems. They're changing their contract. And Carol learned a lesson as we did. Maybe we need to ask other questions next time. But she was clearly led to believe, according to her, she was led to believe that it was the same contract.
So are we getting a message out to all of our employees that if there was a claim you had denied to,
I just learned that this afternoon, and I wanted to talk with you first,
Okay.
but we should.
I think you should. So,
as soon as it's got to go out this week, in my opinion. Right? I mean, this
yeah,
week?
today's Tuesday. He's
Yeah.
got time.
Okay.
Yeah. So,
feel-
Mike, when
If
you
there's a claim
said,
denied,
when I
we
heard
better
you
believe
say
he'd know
we've been
anyways.
reverted back, that doesn't mean the deductible. That just means the plan.
Just means the plan.
Coverage.
There's two types of policies: a standard policy and a non-standard form policy. We've always been in what they call the non-standard form policy. Allegedly, this new plan, they've moved us into the standard platform without telling us that involved a change in coverage. So when they made the offer for the renewal, they did not say, in the past, they've always sold it as, here's your renewal, and if you raise your deductible, here's your renewal deductible, like was presented to us. They've done the same that they've done in years. They did not tell us or Carol that they were shifting us from a non-standard plan with all of those options that we have into a more of a standard basic type of plan. They didn't tell her they were doing that with that offer. The lady acknowledged that she did not tell Carol, and that's why Medical Mutual was eating all of it, because that was an internal mistake, and they're well aware
How's
that
this going to affect us next year?
We're gonna, yeah, we all know what's gonna happen next year. We're gonna pay more.
who knows.
Whatever, it is what it is.
I mean,
Hey.
who knows? I mean, you saw where the renewal that was an increase in price was the same, was the lower plan too. So that 9% that we settled on was this lower plan, just at the same deductible. So who knows what we'll be facing next year? I wouldn't even sweat it at this point. Why get
Why
Doesn't
get
matter.
why
worked
get
up?
bent out of shape over something that who knows how it's
don't
going to
know.
work out?
Yeah.
Hey, by then
be
you
a
get a free
miracle.
health care, you know?
Could be zero.
Yep, could be
Okay.
0.
All right. In the interest of time, because we have about 40 minutes left to get through everything else, we will move on. Fire chief. Oh, you know what? I'm sorry. We skipped. Well, we'll go to fire chief. I'm sorry. We skipped over you, Jason. For-
He wasn't really excited about talking about that anyway, so.
It'll take me all of 30 seconds.
Okay.
Okay, you asked about the ladder truck. It's gonna be several months. That's what they tell me, because they have to replace the subframe underneath to do that. They take all the cabinetry off. They said 2-3 months. So it's out of service for a while.
I'm assuming our-
But the good news is our new engine's back and it's completely redone, and that's fine.
Well, and the fact that we have a solid reserve engine
Yes.
put in frontline
We're-
service is
Right, yeah.
also good.
Yeah, we have, all of our trucks are in good shape right now and running fine. It's just,
Okay.
that truck's gonna be out until they fix it, and unfortunately, because the subframe underneath is bent, they have to remove the box or the cabinetry, fix the subframe, put it all back on. And a ladder truck, I guess that takes a while. It's, you know, it's a lot of material they have to move, so. Again, they said 2 or 3 months, unfortunately. Station 1, the other modeling's completely done, the bathroom's done. If you guys get a chance to tour that or go over and look at it.
Some pictures looks
it
pretty sharp, huh?
It looks really sharp.
How about those pictures for Station 2? That's Station 1?
The bathroom?
The bathroom.
That's Station 2.
Okay.
Or Station 1, I'm sorry,
Yeah.
Station 1. Station 2, what they're doing at Station 2 is, the guys that, small office that's there that the officers use, that had paneling on it, old paneling and a drop ceiling. They removed the drop ceiling, took the paneling off, they had to resurface the walls. And the guys all did this on duty themselves and just resurfaced the walls, repainted everything, basically, and took the ceiling off and sanded that all down, repainted it. It's very nice. They did a nice job, and like I said, it was all done on duty, so that, you know, minimal cost, just paint is all
Did they do the lieutenant's sleeping
Yes, they
quarters
redid
too?
it. Yeah,
Okay.
that's the one they redid. I
That's
put pictures in
that's
there.
officer room.
Oh, I was thinking you meant the, was it the radio room down the hall?
No, that's,
Gotcha. Okay.
that's probably, they'll probably do that next. Those, you know, they start projects like that, and then they like that, how that one looks, and it's kind of contagious. That's a good thing.
Okay.
But they just redid that room, so got that one done. We still got to figure out what we're gonna do with the bathrooms, if we can get together and talk about that
Yeah.
a little bit. All right. Gordon got his new car, and we took it over to Bob's right away, to engine light, but it was nothing major. It was a coil pack thing, so a very minor thing, like $100 or something. It wasn't a big deal. But also, he needs window tinting because of the dog, and we got a company on Northridge called 501 Window Tinting. I'm gonna throw a plug out for them.
Yes.
They're donating the,
It's Jason.
Lawson?
Jason Lawson.
Jason Lawson?
He went to Riverside with us.
Okay,
Yeah.
he's donating the tinting
Oh,
and
nice.
gonna do all that for free, so.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll definitely
Yeah.
get them on the
Yeah.
Facebook page or
Okay.
picture
Yeah,
of
we're
him
gonna-
doing it or him and the
Right.
dog.
So anyways, Jason from 501 Window Tinting's taking care of that for us.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, the restrooms we gotta talk about, but we'll do that whenever. We got, we're working on the vaccination clinics now. We had a squad there for the Riverside Clinic, and we had 2 guys sitting there. I think from like 8 in the morning till 5:30. Again, all that's supposed to be reimbursed. We haven't seen those reimbursements yet, but my understanding is that they're waiting for their money from the state, and then we'll get it from them. So we will get reimbursed for the costs of putting people at those clinics. And we had one today. I stopped there for a little while in Perry, and they did, I don't know, 500 or 600 people in Perry today too, so,
We were there on that one?
yes.
Okay, Perry didn't,
Well, Perry ran it. Their guys mostly, but they needed a few
Support.
more extra people, so we sent a couple guys out there to help them.
they administer the vaccines or just?
Yes.
Oh, okay. So the one at the Riverside, they were just there.
They were there as
As-
EMS on that one.
Okay.
In Perry, they were actually administering
Gotcha.
vaccines.
Sorry, I missed
Yes.
that. Okay.
Okay. Yeah, so they can do either, whatever they need from us, we can help them out. If I get anybody it's all voluntary. If guys want to do it, that's fine, they do it. And then hopefully we get repaid from the county, which they say we are going to, so we're
Okay.
still waiting, but when they get their money, we'll get ours. So that's the way it was told to me. Grant stuff, just to kind of go over this real quick, Safer Grant's out right now. And we talked about that before, how they're going to pay 100% of the first year, but for 3 years. So, but not any step increases or any contractual wage increases. So if we hired one guy, like right now by contract, ours is $54,000 for the first year, jumps up to $72,000 the second year. Because you go, the first year's 54, now next year they've got a 3% raise and the step. So it's actually a lot more for the second year. And third year, I don't know because our contract doesn't go into the third year, but it would
Can we just hire him at 72?
it would probably be about 79,000, just guessing with another step and an increase.
Can we just skip step 1?
So here, let me just,
Can we
I've
make
got
a,
it kind of written out here, this may help.
can we make a 1-year adjustment to the contract and pay new employees, like Gabe said, 71 for the
That's what
first
I'm
year.
saying. If you skip a step and enter them at step
Oh,
2,
yeah.
then they pay that for the
Well,
3
that's-
years.
Yeah, I guess we could, I don't think they would complain about that, but then you'd
Yeah, I
have
know,
that
right,
forever.
then we'd have to.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
So anyways, just to kind of point out, if we did 3 people, it'd be 55,000 a year that they're going to pay. Then the second year, because of the contract and the step, we'd be at 72,000, and then the third year, and again, this is a guess, it would be up around 79 plus a 3%, so like it'd be 81,000. We're not there, but that's what I would
And
just kind
we
of
would
guess.
get 55 a year for those 3 years.
Right.
Yeah, look at the
We're
last
getting
column.
55. So the last column, the difference would be, let's just get to what it would cost. For the 3 years, base salary for 3 people would cost $153,000, almost 154. Now, that would save some in overtime. I would never guess it would save $153,000 in overtime over 3 years, but it might save 75 in 3 years, 25,000 a year or so. The other thing is, these 3 people that are coming in, if people leave, you don't have to replace them like before.
Okay.
Okay, so we know people are leaving over the next 3 years. So this could basically, this is probably, if we write a safer grant, this is the best time to write it. Even though we know it could cost us money, my guess is between overtime and people leaving, that it's going to be pretty much a wash.
And there's people in drop that have to leave, right?
Right,
Where
they're
it's-
in drop.
okay.
Yeah, we have at least 3 or 4 people in drop
So,
that have to leave within the next 3 or 4 years.
all right. So, Mike, what are our other costs, right? So, I mean, here's what the employee gets,
Mm-hmm.
but on top of that, what are we?
Healthcare.
24% for your
24% for the
24%.
pension, so you could add 24, so it's another 50 grand onto this. So 200,000.
So you got,
Because they're going to pay base salary and benefits for the first year.
Oh,
And
First year.
that package goes on.
so
but
if they're paying, if somebody gets health care at 20 grand,
right,
the grant pays for that all 3 years.
all 3 years.
but not, do they pay for OP or for?
And they're not going to pay for that 10% increase or whatever
Correct.
we're getting every year on healthcare.
What
So,
about-
so
what
that
about-
would go out. So there is
what
more
about-
expenses. I just did the base salary. There would be more.
But they're covering, well, go ahead.
What about police and fire? Do they cover that, or we have to cover that?
No, they cover it, I'm sorry, they carry.
They cover the pension,
They
both
cover the
sides?
pension, yes, that's right, they do, the 24% they
Probably
do.
not both sides, our side.
Yeah, that's all the benefits for the first year they
Well, don't
cover.
we pay a portion for the fire
Increase in
department?
the, whatever
We pay
whatever
24.
increases over
That's
that,
what I
like,
said.
the first year they pay
Oh.
25% of,
They pay
24%
17.
of the 55,000 the first
Well,
year.
they don't pay theirs,
But
right?
then the second year, when they go up to 72,000, they're only
That's the
paying
point.
25,
Fire department, we pay
24% of
both
the
sides.
55.
Yeah, okay.
So they lock in the amount first year, and that's what they pay for the 3 years. Okay? So, again, we'd have to sit down and go over all the benefits and see what the exact cost is for the 3 people, documented cost, and then go from there. Point is, when I'm bringing this up is, I have to have it written by the 12th and submit it by the 12th. You guys don't have to, until you actually get awarded the grant, don't have to say yes or no to this, okay? But I don't want to go further than,
Well, I think
if you're
you
thinking no at this point, I'm not going to go any further.
I mean, so
but-
I'm looking at 153,000 is the
Right.
difference.
Mhm.
So maybe it's 200,000 because
Yeah.
of the other things.
Right.
But if we have one person retire in year number 2,
Right,
we're going to come out ahead,
right.
right? By not
Well, the-
having them on.
Right, I know this year we've got 1 retiring this year. There'll be 1 next year and probably 2 the year after. I mean, we're looking at 4 people retiring in the next 3 years, probably. Again, I can't 100% predict it, but especially guys in drop, they can't stay,
It
or
needs-
if they stay past their 8 years, they lose it all. So
Yes,
they're
I
not
think
gonna do that.
we need to predicate this, so it needs to be very,
Clear.
clear
Mm-hmm.
that these are not additional, that will, meaning when the drop people go out, we're replacing them.
Mm-hmm.
It needs to be very clear to the union that these guys will fall in to fill those spaces, and that we're not adding 3 and then gonna replace our retirees
Right.
in the next
And
couple
now,
of years.
is that
Yeah,
a,
no, those
'Cause
people
that's-
would get absorbed by attrition. I'm not gonna write the grant that way, I can tell you that.
Well, no, I know, but
yeah.
what I'm saying is, we don't want to go to the table in
And
2 years
get into a negotiation where
and
they
then be
say,
like, you
Sure.
got to replace these 3 guys now.
Yeah.
We're like, you know,
No, I mean,
Okay.
I think the union, and I can make it clear to them, I think they're comfortable with the 27 they're at. I don't
Okay.
think they're,
so in
I
my
don't think
opinion,
they're looking to put on more people.
it's a no-brainer that we should go forward with.
Okay.
yeah,
Again.
it makes sense.
Wait a
Okay.
second, so as far
Sure.
as covering the 24% for the pension,
Yes,
who covers that
they do.
for all 3 years?
For the.
On the base.
On the
base.
55,000?
Yes,
So they cover the 24%, they cover the base,
yeah.
And healthcare.
and they cover healthcare?
Yeah, all the expenses for the first year. That's whatever, but then that's the number that's locked in for
Yeah,
all 3
whatever
years.
whatever your first year cost is, that's what you're set for the next 2.
Right.
Is there anything else?
No, I believe that's it.
When you put the healthcare costs in there, do you fill out these numbers and tell them what?
Yes, and I have to break it down what we're paying for everything.
Okay,
Yes.
so I don't know, can we include not only healthcare premiums, but the HSA amounts we fund?
Sure, yeah.
Right, so
Well,
if
that's
we
all it-
fund the HSA
Sure. Yeah,
for
well,
a sizable amount.
whatever our cost per employee, yes, we'll
Okay.
go through and figure all of that.
Yeah,
yes.
just because the healthcare cost is what
Yeah.
we pay to medical
I'll-
mutual
I'll
plus.
sit down with Karen and
that
make sure we get it all.
5,000?
Yeah.
Or whatever that.
So you think they cover the HSA, or they do cover the HSA? I mean, they cover the total health care
They
cost,
cover employee and benefits for the first year.
and then they lock in at 3 years.
Right.
So who is SAFER? What's SAFER grant? Where's it
It's-
coming from?
That's from the
That's
Assistance to Firefighter Grant. It's like, it's from the Department of Homeland Security is where it's from, and it's to make communities better prepared. Now, I know this year because in the past, it's been, they have gone 100% the first year, and then dropped down to like 25% per year till they're, so, but this year, they've locked in it, they're doing it a different way, locking it at 100% the first year, and then paying that same amount for 3 years, instead of dropping their co-pay on it, if you will. One of the reasons they've done that is because a lot of communities are really hit hard with income tax, and they've had to lay people off. So I know the priority is to bring people back from layoff. So I'm not like 100% saying, oh, we're going to get this. I'm saying it's going to be pretty tough, actually, because communities do have people laid off.
competitive.
But I think unless you put it in, you don't know. So, that's, again,
Yeah.
Play a few guys.
And there's no requirement to keep them. I
There's-
keep thinking back to the Clinton thing about 100,000 new cops, and so these communities like Eastlake, they hired all these extra cops, and when that
Right.
money was gone, they had to hold on to them. This isn't
Right.
a requirement.
this is not it's not a requirement to keep the number. It'll be a requirement to keep the
guys.
guys that we hire.
Okay, so
So we can-
Joe, Mary, and Sue get hired, and then from there you can have 3 other dudes retire and call it a wash.
Yes, and again, that's a change this year in what we've had in the past years also. In the past years, you did have to maintain a level, like if you had 3 more people, that would give us 30 people, we would have to maintain 30 people for the 3 years in order to get the money. That's a change this year also, because they know that they're replacing people that are on layoff and things like that. The change this year is that you don't have to maintain, you have to maintain a certain level, you just have to maintain the ones you hire.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right.
All right, so keep writing it, that's, okay.
Yeah, for sure.
That's, all right, that's really all I have.
Okay.
Okay, thanks.
Jason,
Oh,
wake up.
I was up. I just
Okay.
didn't know. I'm not
Have
used to
people-
hearing my name. So yeah, I got contacted last week about a second opioid class action lawsuit. So I'm a little hazy. Obviously, it was before my time, so we're already involved in a first one, I'm assuming.
We are,
Allegedly.
but we haven't heard
Heard or seen
boo
anything.
since.
We haven't heard anything, but
Yeah.
no, we're in it.
Well, my guess would be that litigation probably moves at a snail's pace, and
Right.
COVID didn't help any kind of court-related thing. So this litigation, it's the same firm. It's that New York law firm, Napoli and Skolnick or something like that. The lady heading it up is the pharmaceutical plaintiff's attorney pretty much in the country. I talked to her some point last week, just to try to get little details on our end. You know, there'd be no cost to the township, almost zero involvement from the township. We have to fill out a little plaintiff's fact sheet. That I could probably do most of that. Certainly with Mike's help, we could do all of it. You know, and I asked her, so essentially this is, we sign up, we're patient, and hopefully down the road we get some money. And she said, yeah, that's exactly how it works. So I spoke to her that she's on a bit of a deadline. I believe they're trying to file suit this week. So after kind of talking to Mike about it, I gave her a tentative, yeah, go ahead and sign us up, but I told her I'd get back to her tonight after the meeting with a definite answer.
Do we need a motion or anything at this
We
point?
didn't
or-
pass a motion last time.
Okay.
No, I'll just shoot, you know, if you guys want to go with it, I'll just shoot her an email and say, yep, it's confirmed, and, you know, let us know if you need anything
Yeah.
from us.
So why would a firm have two separate class action lawsuits, the same firm? What's the point of that?
Different defendants,
Different companies, different pharma companies.
yeah.
Oh, okay.
I don't know who they went after in the first one. I'm assuming the actual manufacturers. This one would be against it was a marketing firm that helped consult these pharmaceutical companies.
Yeah, hopefully we'll get something down the road that we can use to help all the people impacted by the opioid crisis, so.
That's the hope, you know, and
They
I
buy a
think,
lot more Narcan.
I think it's certainly gonna take some time when you're dealing with a massive class action like this, and, you know, like I said, COVID didn't help, but,
No appeal anyways,
Okay.
right?
okay.
All right, thank you.
I'll let her know the township's in.
They'll lose, they'll appeal, it'll be 10 years.
Bill.
Oh, yeah. I mean, if you get a judgment, they'll appeal the judgment.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
We are planning on opening the brush drop area on March 31st, back to full service with masks. We'll help anybody that wants to get help. We can decide whether we want to actually have people sign in or if we just count the vehicles like we did last year, but we're going back to full service.
Because they've all gotten the shots, is that why? I mean, why are we doing full service?
Because it's time to move.
We just do that at this time of year normally.
Well, last year we didn't, so I'm asking why
Right,
this
last
year we're doing
well, I
it.
think
We didn't.
we're moving ahead, and I think that the
14 days
masks
to
are,
flatten the curve this time last
you know,
year.
people will,
Yeah. Well,
you
I
know,
there's-
our employees won't wear
right.
masks out there, but they will.
Well, doesn't
There,
mean
I think there was a little
we're
point
almost
last
there.
year
That's when
where
he's opening it.
there was more watching than helping because of the COVID, and I think we need to get back to serving the people in
I
full
agree.
service that want it.
I agree.
So have they received the shots, the vaccinations, our employees?
No,
They're not eligible.
We're not eligible, man.
So,
There's 16 states right now that have gotten rid of the mask mandates altogether.
But we're not one of them.
We're not one of them, I know.
We're
that.
not
I'm just-
saying get rid of the mask. We're saying just
I know we're not.
do our
I'm just
job,
trying
you
to
know?
tell.
so from an
Shelley.
employee, okay, guys, I get it, dude. We're all on the same page. We're all on the same page with it. But from an employee standpoint, to keep the employee safe, I mean, if I'm one of those guys who's unloading brush, I don't want the guy getting out of his truck and helping me. It's either he does it or I do it. And that's how I would feel about it. I don't want them helping me because then I'm gonna be breathing their oxygen.
well,
They're gonna be right in their face, helping them do stuff. I mean, it's still a transmittable disease, whether you like it or not.
well, that's what we're gonna do, Chuck. We're gonna ask the people, do you want us to get it, or are you gonna get it?
Okay, so it's one or the other.
Yeah,
Okay, so the employees aren't going to have other people jumping out. So if they do jump out of their car and start helping, then they've got to tell them,
Yeah.
we've got this, please go back in your vehicle.
yes, yeah,
Okay.
that's the plan, yeah.
Okay. I mean, if I'm one of those guys unloading that thing, I don't want somebody else getting out and breathing on my air, breathing in my space.
But there are elderly people that come in that,
Can't do it.
they'll
themselves.
be happy to stay in the car and let us
Right.
Sure.
help. And last year, it kind of turned into, everybody was on their own, so,
Yeah.
okay? Okay, because we have an employee that's tentatively going to retire this year, I would like to hire his replacement before he retires, so that we can have him on board and just
Trained and ready
make
to
a
go.
seamless transition. When the person retires, we've already got the replacement in place. And I would like to have that happen in April. It will be a little bit of an increase. There'll be a paying two people for a while this year until that retirement happens. But then for the following 2 years, it should be a decrease in the overall salary because the new person will start at a lower rate and will not get to the equivalent top rate of the retiring employee for 3 years.
How
So
long ago did we just hire? It was, how recent was it?
we hired 2 years ago.
It was 2 years ago?
Yeah,
Wow.
their 2-year anniversary will be this April.
Okay,
Yes.
so you'll have to go out for all new resumes then?
So, yeah, I think we would have to advertise
We're not
somewhere.
required to.
So,
So there's a, there was a person that we interviewed.
do we have to advertise for a position if we're gonna hire?
No, you don't have
We
to.
don't
I
have
mean,
to?
I'd say if you guys have like a policy in place that says you will, I would follow it. But
Okay.
if there's no policy in place, no, there's no
Okay.
legal requirement. If there's somebody, a previous candidate that you have in mind,
There was somebody that we were ready to make an offer to previously, and at that particular time, they were not able to take the decrease in pay from their current job because they were in the process of having a house built. So
Oh.
it would have caused them to not qualify for their loan. So as soon as the house was built, they reached out and said, I would like to work for you if there's ever another opportunity. So
Wow, that's good.
I am okay with following up with that.
I
if-
think so,
If you are
too,
okay
yeah.
with
Yeah.
that.
I'm okay, I'm all right. If you've already interviewed this person and you're ready to offer them and
Yes.
for whatever reasons it didn't work, then they're still on the table and they're available and, yeah, I'm good.
Yes, it's your department. If you think this is who's the right fit, then by all means.
Okay. And then what is your timeline? Because I'm ready to, I would like to see him
I mean, let's,
start in
Is
April.
this isn't a family member of anybody in the township or, I mean, anybody elected here?
No,
Okay,
no.
gotta ask,
Okay, yeah, that's fair.
gotta ask.
Yeah, I mean, I
That's
guess I would say we could
Go with
reach out to the person this week with an offer and let them give their,
I'd say there's
Their
no reason
notice?
to wait. Just do what
Okay.
you gotta do.
give them give notice at other position, and if they want to start April
All right,
1st
well-
or whatever.
Okay, I'll start that
You figure it out.
process. Yeah. And then it will be a 3-year process to get up to top
Sure.
pay.
Yeah.
Okay. So we had talked last fall about the possibility of adding a storage building down at the service garage. I don't want to proceed with estimates and all of that if we're not going to proceed with it. I've got a couple of estimates. There was some talk that it's possible that a metal roof might qualify under the NOPEC grant. So that might,
And even, or additional insulation for the building, or, I mean, we replaced HVAC at
And
other
that
buildings,
might,
so
um,
a heater.
that might reduce the cost a little bit, but if we can just maybe get the shell up or get the building up this year, and then we'll do the heat and electric to it in another year.
Sure.
Yeah.
I've got a budget in mind, and I don't want to go over that.
I'd
but
like
we'll-
like to hear that. You have a budget. That's good.
Yeah. Okay, well, I will more fine tune then as to what we're looking at.
Well,
And,
I want to ask a question, Bill.
Okay,
And maybe it's Mike here, I'm not sure. Give me just a second. I'm
So
trying to
while
find
he's
something.
finding that, I guess as you're looking at products, we don't need a Cadillac, but we do want something that is going to look nice and blend in with
Yes.
everything else down there. I just want to make sure that we don't,
Do you know who you're talking to? What do you think this guy's gonna do? Go out and spend $1 million on a
Hey.
building? I mean, come on.
I just
What do you think he's gonna do?
I just want to make sure that we don't get the cheapest building. I
Yeah.
want to make sure we get something good.
Yeah.
That
Yeah.
is gonna. That's where I was going.
Oh, I was gonna say.
All right, Mike, or Bill, here. So when we did our road levy, when we did our road levy back in 18,
Oh, yeah.
we
Yes.
projected at the end of 2020, we would have just over $1 million as an ending cash balance. And in December, we actually had about $300,000 more. So I guess my my only thought or concern is there money that was here that was supposed to, we were anticipating spending on something? Because we're farther ahead of the curve than where we thought we'd be. It could be CARES Act funding, I don't know. I don't know what it is. It's just, I mean, it's a good problem to have, but if we're sitting at 300,000 more than we projected with the road levy in 2018, I'm just concerned that there's money we're gonna spend.
Well, CARES money would have had to been spent by 12/31. We spent all our money by then because of, at that time, that was the rule. So all of our CARES money had been allocated and spent.
So
by
there's
then.
nothing that we have hanging out there, big bill wise.
We don't have anything hanging out there. I'm not sure, did we do a road project out of our monies last year? I can't remember.
Out
if
of the
we-
levy money, yes, we did.
Okay.
Yes.
So that was there too.
Yeah.
that
But
was
we had less salt though, right? And less overtime.
And
Right.
When I looked at the sheets that I get, it looked like our revenue was up a little higher than what we had
We
projected.
did have some new
Yeah.
valuations because we had the Health Advisory Council meeting Monday, and our portion that the township has to pay towards the health department did increase, and I asked why our percentage was larger, and they said that Painesville Township overall had the largest valuation increase out of any of the townships in Lake County.
Well, we had a lot of housing.
Yeah, we had a lot of housing built.
Well, right, but so our valuation went up, which would increase some tax dollars, so
Right.
that makes sense, you know?
Okay. All right, so we're just doing a good job. Just wanted to make sure.
Okay, I will, I'll have more details about that then as we follow up. And we got our final salt delivery yesterday, so
Everything fits.
yeah, us and Fairport, we got it all at the same time, and we're good, so.
Did you get 100%, 95, 105?
110.
You
I got
took it
110,
all?
yeah.
Okay.
What about Painesville City? Do we have some of theirs
They-
there too?
They ended up bringing 7 loads over is all.
Oh,
And
okay.
then they came back and got them after the first snow, and they haven't needed to come back again, so. And at this point, I can't help them. Both of our buildings are full, so.
Tell me if they want to.
Tell them we'll sell them some.
Tell them if they want to build a new building over at our place. Maybe we can strike a deal with them.
Could you reach out about that electric committee?
Yes.
Is there any news?
They're still accepting
And so you submitted.
interest. Yes.
I
Okay.
can't see how reasonably they wouldn't have a member of the communities that they're servicing on their book.
I can't believe they don't have each community represented.
That, to me,
but-
that's just, I mean, it's not, you know,
Yeah.
All right, well, that's good.
So,
Let's see
yes.
what happens.
I would think that should be procedurally part of the whole thing, that you're gonna have one member from each committee that
They make the
receives your
rules.
power.
They
You
make
would
the
think.
rules, so.
That makes, right.
Rich,
We know
you've got 8 minutes, Rich,
Maybe 5.
maybe 5.
Okay, I turned my microphone on. Let me ask one quick question. I heard a name mentioned, Jason Lawson, 501 Window Tinning on North Ridge Road. Is that in our township or Perry?
No,
It
it's
could,
not,
it could be in Painesville Township. Is there an issue?
Well, I never heard of them, so
all right, don't worry about it. Moving on. We'll move on.
okay. I really, all I want to talk about is the Meyer gas station, Meyer Express gas station, convenience store. My last conversation with him, I did not expect this, but they basically gave us a very similar architectural rendering of what they had previously sent us. I kind of objected to that. The representative from Meyer gave me the story on how this is all part of a new program and this is their new image and this is what they want to do. And they had their architect explain a few of the minor modifications he had incorporated into this latest representation. And they basically said they look for local zoning staff to be supportive before they go in front of trustees. And I said, well, look, I respect how you guys do business, but let me tell you, I can be as supportive as my trustees allow me to be. And when they tell me that they don't like something, I am obligated to be honest with you and tell you they don't like something.
Well, and make them aware that it's this board of trustees that passed the architectural design standards for the corridor, so we have a keen interest in those standards.
Josh, I did
Okay,
do
all
that. It was a long conversation, and it was good all the way up until the guy said, "Well, maybe it's time to pull the plug on trying to put this station in Painesville Township," which caught me totally by
lose out on all
surprise.
the income tax, Chuck.
Yeah, then we'll lose all that income. Oh, yeah, never mind.
No income tax.
Yeah. Anyhow, my sense is there is an advantage to them to put their Meyer Express in Painesville Township as opposed to the city of Mentor, even though there could be drawbacks. Typically, their experience is their Meyer Expresses in close proximity to their stores is probably the way they want to go. But I don't think they're fools in any sense of the word. They realize that they're not paying net profits income tax to a city, no payroll taxes here in Painesville Township. All I was trying to do is get them to make a move toward coming closer to a Western Reserve architectural style. Because what they showed me, you guys saw that, and you didn't think it was anywhere close to Western Reserve. I don't think it's anywhere close to Western Reserve.
Especially after what Safe Store showed us and how they were willing to get their building to fit.
Yeah.
Right, and I mean, I've always been a proponent, it's an advocate of a landowner being able to use their property, and they invest in our township, they buy property, and I want them to be able to recoup their investment. And we saw that with the Safe Store, where they were able to, accommodate the requests we were asking. We saw that with Aldi. They were able to amend their renovation to meet the requests of what we were doing. We saw that with Sherwin-Williams, amending what they wanted to do to meet our standards. We are looking at rezoning essentially to accommodate this business moving in. I feel like it's a give and take, and we're giving a lot, and we're asking for something simple that they have already done. I just don't see why we're getting such resistance. Now, I get that they have some new program they're trying to do, but they have to see that from our standpoint, we're willing to rezone a property essentially to allow them to fit, and all we're asking is for a building adjustment to match something that they've already done.
Right. And so, when I offered to come back to you guys and ask if you were willing to let them pull the plug, they kind of like blinked, and the guy said to me, let him go back to his senior management, and I should not put that proposal in front of you.
All right, we don't. I want the landowner to be able to sell his land, to be able to use it. The guy's been paying taxes for how many years? He keeps it nice and clean for the township, unlike the property next to his. I mean, he mows it, he takes care of it. So I want him to recoup his investment by all means. And we're trying to work with these guys, so they have to see that they have to give us something. Essentially, we're giving them everything, and they're giving us nothing. So there has to be some middle ground for them to come in here. So, I mean, that's the message from me, is that they have to realize there has to be some give and take, and they're taking without giving. So there has to be some movement there,
I am totally on board with that. So my expectation is, it might not be realistic. It's just my impression. I think the way the last conversation went, when they asked me not to approach the trustees and share the fact that they kind of threw an ultimatum at me, until they get back to me. I really expect them to come back with some kind of a compromise. I just so you know this, I'm going to sense they're going to resist doing anything other than copying the brick appearance of the exterior of the building. I don't think they're going to want to get involved in roof lines, but I don't know that for sure.
We'll wait and see what they got.
Well, okay,
you know?
we'll see. I mean, everybody makes decisions. If that's the decision they make, then that's their decision. They go from there. It is what it is. So
Okay.
it's not their way or the highway, and it's not our way or the highway. It's like Gabe said, it's a two-way street. We're willing to work with them, and unless they're willing to work back, then it is what it is. They can go do
Okay.
business elsewhere.
Okay.
Thank you.
I'm
But
good.
I appreciate you standing your ground on that, Rich. Good job.
Okay.
All right, any other questions? If not, we will go ahead and close the
Is that all he's got?
work session. Well, it's time anyway, so we'll close the work session, and,
If he has anything else, he can report it during the meeting.
yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah, we'll close the work session. If we want to end the live stream, we will, right, we end the live stream, correct? And we'll restart it for the meeting at 7:30.
Okay, Sean, we're done with this one. We'll start the the public meeting at 7:30.
Has Jeremy been on?
Okay.
Did he just join, or is he?
No,
there?
he's
Oh,
been
oh,
just been the strong silence.
okay. I would have asked him a question instead of.